Welcome again back to Art with Mrs. Maher. Today we're going to talk about the primary colors and we're going to look at some really fun tools that you can use in art to help express your thoughts and your feelings. Let's look at the board right now. Before we start with our primary colors, I want to talk about something that is very important, not only to an artist, but to anyone in any activity. It's a verb, create. Verb is an action word. And action words means we're doing something. We're involved in something. Create means to bring something into existence. Now think about the power of that. The power of you as an individual to use your imagination, your thoughts, your feelings, and experiences, and bring them into existence by creating a piece of art. You are a creator. We'll talk about that more as we go along. But I want you to consider the power that is in that thought of creating. I think that's important to learn. I think it's a life lesson. We can create in so many ways, not just through art, but an inventor. Think about where the toaster came from. That was a creation, wasn't it? Oh, my goodness. There's so much to talk about with this. So we're going to continue with this subject and the power that you as an individual have. Okay. That was a fun word to explore, and we'll explore it more. But now, I think we have to change our board. Give me a second here. What are we going to talk about today? Oh, primary colors. Primary colors. Primary colors cannot be created by mixing any other color. Primary colors cannot be created by mixing of other colors. What are our primary colors? What does primary mean? Well, if you think about the word primary, your first couple of grades in school are called your primary school grades or your primary lessons. Your primary lessons are the things that you need to learn before you can learn other things. If you think about it, when you were in kindergarten, you started to learn your numbers. You learned 1 and then 2 and then 3. And then you learned that 5 came before 9 and 8 and 7 and 6. So you learned primary numbers, and you learned counting, and you learned how to make those numbers. And then when you went to first grade and second grade, you learned how to manipulate those numbers. But you can't manipulate numbers until you understand what numbers are and what their value is. So you learned that 5 plus 5 equals 10, and 1 plus 1 equals 2. And you learned how to take away or subtract from numbers also, right? Yes, you're learning that now. 5 minus 2. 5 take away 2 equals 3. That was a primary lesson when you first learned to count and put numbers in order of value. Now, in art, primary colors are the first colors because they cannot be created by mixing any other colors. So let's talk about what those primary colors are. I'm using acrylic paints today because it's easier and quicker than mixing other. What color do I have here? They're easier than mixing. Excuse me, my nose is itching. I think somebody's thinking about me. What's this color? Red. Yes, okay. Good job. I'm going to put it on my paint palette. Now you can see my paint palette is sort of messy, isn't it? I just lost something. I don't know what it was, but there was a drop. It happens. My palette is just a yellow plastic plate that I've been using for over a year. I'm going to put a drop of red on it. See? Red is a primary color. Do you know what the other primary colors are? I'm giving you a hint right now. Come on, play with me. Yellow, that's right. Yellow is a primary color. We can't make yellow ourselves. No, it cannot be created by mixing any other colors. A drop of yellow right down on my plate. See it there? Can you guess what the next primary color might be? I'll give you a hint. What color is this? Blue. Blue. Not blue-green. Not midnight blue. Our primary colors only have one name. It's yellow. It's not orange yellow. It's not lime green. Blue is not midnight blue or baby blue, and red is not violet red or red orange. So as you look through your colors, whether you are painting or coloring with this project, you are simply using red, straight old R-E-D, red. When you're using blue, you are not using any other color, whether it's your crayon or your colored pencil. Your blue is B-L-U-E, and that's all, not blue-green, not anything else. And yellow It is not orange yellow or any other color of yellow. It is YELLOW, yellow. So look for your pure primary colors as you work with your activities with me. Now, one of the things I want to take time with while we're working with our primary colors is to introduce you to some of the tools of art. If we're painting, we need a bucket of water. I'm not going to tip this over to show you because then I'll have a mess to clean up. All right, I showed you the plastic plate that I'm using, but this is a butter lid. It could also work as a palette for you. A palette is a place where you put your paint so that you can use it easily. So we've got that, and we've got a bucket of water because as we use our paintbrushes, we have to clean them. If we don't, and there's a variety of paintbrushes. There's thick, there's thin, there's fine brushes. Look at how pointed this is. Right here. Whoops, which way do I go? There we go. So as you think about creating art with brushes, think about what brushes you have and how we're going to take care of them. As I work through this project, I will show you how to rinse and dry your brushes so that they are ready for the next time you want to use them. First of all, I'm going to pick this brush. I have to get it wet. I wipe off. Let me do this again so that you can see it. I get it wet, and then at the edge, I wipe off the extra water and let it drip back into my bucket. Now, I'm going to take the first primary color that we talked about. Here's some red. I got it on my brush. Now, I'm going to twirl my brush in that because I want it to get all on my brush, not just on the end. I want it all in there. See, I've got my brush loaded. And I'm going to paint red very carefully. I'm going to get it back and forth here. I'm going to fill in gently. Oh, I need a little more red. Well, back to my palette I go. And I paint. Now, if I've drawn a sketch with a pencil of an outline, I would follow that outline very carefully. But I'm trying to do this sort of quick for you guys. Now, what do I have to do with this brush right away so that I don't ruin the brush? Come on, you know. That bucket of water, I'm swirling it around. I'm swirling it around. There we go. And then what should I do next before I use it again? You know, we get some Arby's some McDonald's. You know how it is. Some days I just don't want to cook. But I save those napkins when they give us extra. What am I doing? I'm putting the brush here. I'm pinching gently. I'm swirling the brush and bringing it out. Another thing you can do is just wipe it back and forth. I have a clean brush and it's ready to use for the next color. The next color, yellow. I dabbed some on. Now I'm gonna just gently get my brush through it. There we go. Can you see that? Yellow. Let's get some yellow on here so you can see it. I better do it again, huh? Gently move your brush through it. Swirl a little bit, and there we go. All right, you tell me what I have to do with this brush if I want to use another color. You're right. Bucket time. I have to get it in here. I have to swirl it. I have to make sure I've got the paint off all the way down to the edge here. All the way down there. And then I put it in here. I press gently. And I dry it. Well, we said red, yellow, and blue were the primary colors, so I expect you all to have this answer correct. What's my next color? Boo, 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 Halloween blue, blue, blue. Let's look. I'm rolling my brush a little. I'm getting the extra off. Blue. Well, look, I got too much off that time, didn't I? Let's do it a little bit better. I still got too much off. It's not a problem. We can fix that, can't we? Yes, we just get more. Here we go. Do you see that? Now, you're going to tell me what to do with this brush this time. I want to hear you all. The bucket. Swirl. Great. You guys are really helping me. I'm swirling. Well, I still see a little bit more in there. Oh, I better swirl a little bit more. I want to see a clean, okay. I want to see a clean brush. I've got a clean brush. I heard you say dry. You guys are great. Yeah. Gently wipe it. Look at that. I can use this brush again. I don't need to ruin a brush. Now, when we're finished using a brush, take your time to bring all the hairs of the brush back together again before you let it dry. And then you will have a perfect brush to use again. Now, one of the things I want to do with these colors, and I want to show you. You can use paper napkins, but they're more expensive than your free napkins from your drive-in or your order-out meals. So, you know what? Ask Mom and Dad to save these for you. They work, but so do paper towels. All right, let's set these aside. Now, I said I would show you some of the tools of art. that you can find almost anywhere. What do you think this is? Have you had a cupcake or a muffin lately? I know this one isn't perfect because I already spread it out. Like that. What if I folded it in half? Just like that. Just like a taco. Yeah, a taco. If I wanted to, well, I could do a multiple bunch of things with this, but I'm going to take a thicker brush this time. I'm still learning how to keep stuff in front of the camera. Get this wet. I'm going to drip the excess off. Let's see what I can do. Let's see how I can create something here. Look at that. What's happening? Do you see that? As I'm letting the paint run out of my brush, it gets a little bit lighter. I can go back over it. Let me take that away now. That's not so easy to do. Look at what I've got. Oh, my goodness me. What if I turned it around? I'm going to get a little more red here. I'm just going to do it a little bit more red. And here I go. And I'm going to fill it in. Well, I'm not sure what that, I do know what that shape is. And you know what it is too. It's a biomorphic shape. Yeah. Math can't measure it. No. This is a shape that would occur in nature, wouldn't it? Yeah, we're going to throw some review in here. All right, now let's see what else we can do with this shape. Let's put my paintbrush aside. I've cleaned it. I'm drying it. What else can I do with a cupcake muffin paper? Let's see. I'm going to fold it in half like a taco. And then I'm going to fold it again. So that I only have 1/4. I fold it in half, then I folded it in fourths. That almost looks like a fan, doesn't it? Now, I'm going to fold it again. And again. 1 halfway over. And 1 halfway over. I'm going to try and match up everything as best I can. Let me try that again. You have to practice. Okay. Now let's see what I can do. Let's go with, what color do I want? Yellow. I'm dipping. Dip, 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 dip. Dip. Look at what I have here. Let's see what happens. Stamp, 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 stamp. Does that look like it could be the beginning of a flower? I think it could be. Now, what happens if I just unroll this a little bit and cut and cut? Okay, painting is messy. What happens if I press this down here? I've got that yellow still up there. Now I'm going to take my brush again. Hey, where'd my brush go? That's not a problem. I'll just grab a new one because I have lots of brush. I get my brush wet, right? I scrape off the drips on the lid. Let's see what we can do here. What have we got? Let me finish. Oh, yes, we're going to fill. That's okay. So suppose we fill that all in. My brush is going to go into the pot, and I'll squiggle that off in a minute. Let me take this off. Oh, interesting. See how I got the yellow here and the blue here? Now, what if I put this back down again and sort of press out the rest of that blue that was there? Well, that's sort of interesting, isn't it? I'm just playing. I'm using my imagination to discover what I can do with different tools. You can do the same with coffee filters. Coffee filter. If anybody in your family drinks coffee, you might have one of these available. Oh, there's a lot of things you can do. Oh, when it comes to the winter time, we'll be making snowflakes and all sorts of things. But right now, make your burrito or your fan. Fold it in half. Maybe you want to fold the edges tight. Maybe you want to twist up this time. Twist. Twist. What do you think that looks like? Let's find out. Now, I'm going to dip a little bit in red. Whoops, that's a big hunk of red. A little bit in yellow. And then I'm going to smash it down into blue. Yeah, let me get a little bit more here. Can you see that? I put it down. What happens? I smashed it in there. All right, let's see. Well, that could be the start of another flower. Or it could be something else. What else could it be? What if I did it again? Let me twist it around a little bit. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know what it is yet, but we'll figure that out. Now I want to show you. Let me make room here. I'm running out of room. I want to show you some really fun tools that you can use in art. All right, I've used up some of my paints here, so I need to add, what primary color is this? Yellow. Yes, I need to add some more yellow to my palette. I want to add some more red to my palette. And help me out here. Blue, red, yellow, blue, red, yellow, blue, red, yellow, blue. Okay. Let me see what I have. Oh, I think this, well, you know what? You can use a paper towel tube because I have that, but I also have an empty toilet paper tube. And I think we'll use that because it'll be easier for my demonstration. I have a whole bag of tricks here. All right, what I'm going to do now, see where I have my red, my yellow, and my blue. I'm going to dip a little edge in here. See that? I'm going to dip a little edge in here. Now this one looks a little bit clumpy there, so I'm just going to swirl it right on the plate. Try again. There we go. Now, I'm going to do a yellow here. Ah, I got a glob again. Dab it off. And a dab there. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Straight down. Hold it there for a second. Lift it up. Wow, cool. I don't know if you can tell from here, but some of that extra clumpy stuff stayed right there. And I've got a very interesting circle. What if I rolled the edge along? What do we get there? That's a toilet paper tube. Every family has them, so I know you can get your hands on that. All right, let me set this aside. I don't want it dropping on the floor and creating a mess in my house. Mr. Jim would not like that. You recognize this, don't you? Yes, it's time for the pine cones to fall from our evergreen trees. But look at the texture. Think about what that might create. And different pine cones, some of them are loose and opened, and some of them are still tight like this. Let's see what we can do with this. All right, I put my brush in the bucket. I have to clean it now. And then when I clean it, oh, I have to get more off. Let's get there. All righty. And then I dry it. Now, let's see if I can take this pine cone. I'm just going to do a small part of it, like that, and see what happens. What do I get as I explore? Back in the bucket with the brush. What happens when I explore this? I'm going to set it down and roll it. I'm going to set it down and roll it. Dot, roll, roll. What if I go like drag it? That doesn't do too much, does it? Rolling seems to be the most interesting pattern to me. But if I roll and drag, look, and I get some I get some lighter shades in there, but I'm pressing really hard. I think that's sort of interesting, don't you? Try it. You have to experiment in order to be your creator of your art. You need to be imaginative and you need to have thoughts that are yours. And you need to try a variety of things. Now, I want to show you something fun. This is a tool that I have used for some of my own art projects. I'm going to show you one that I haven't used and one that I have used. Do you know what this is? In the summertime, in Ohio, we're very lucky to get fresh corn on the cob. You know, on that corn of the cob, there's the hairy end where the corn silk is hanging out. And then there's the bottom end, and all of the husks come down to this end. And when we shuck the corn, when we get the silk and the leaves off of the corn, we pull from the top and we bring it down. Well, I asked Mr. Jim this summer, would he please chop off the end of the corn before I shucked it? And then I let it dry. So let's see what happens. I'm going to dampen it a little bit. Just want to soften it, so I put it in my yucky water now. All right, let's see. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in a little yellow, put it in a little blue, put it in a little red. Look at what I got. Let's see what the end of the corn does. Here we go. All right. I'm not going straight down. I'm going around and around, almost like a top spinning. And now I'm just pressing. Ooh, I had a drip down here. Wait a minute. Let's get that drip. Oh, that's very fun to do. So for our lesson this time, for our activity this time, I've shown you a little bit about taking care of your paintbrushes. And that's important because paintbrushes, they can be expensive if you want good tools. I talked to you a little bit about cutting with your scissors and using coffee filters, muffin cups. I've talked to you about the pine cone and the corn husk and our primary colors. What are our primary colors? Red, yellow, blue. You got it. Good job. Red, yellow, blue, I love you. Can you remember that? Red, yellow, blue, I love you. Red, yellow, blue. Those colors cannot be created by mixing other colors. The next lesson we have is going to be about the colors that we can create by mixing the colors that we cannot create. It sounds like magic to me, and I think it is. Now, For your activity, let me get my paper up here. Your activity this time is remember to include lines. And what do we know about a line? It has a beginning and an end. It can be thick, it can be thin, it can be curved, it can be loop-de-loop or curly. Your shapes. By now you should have had your geometry shape lesson. Oh, Mrs. Fong and I got a little bit discoordinated with our lessons. So I'm sorry if that was a confusion for you, but by now you should have had it, okay? Your primary colors. Red, yellow, blue, red, yellow, blue. I love you. Space. We talked about negative space and positive space. What is negative space? It's the space that isn't being used in the picture. It helps define the picture or the subject. Communication. We talked about the artist communicating to the viewer and the viewer interpreting the picture. You want to express something as you're creating your art. Remember, you are the creator. You are bringing something into existence, and that's powerful. What I want you to do, I want you to use your primary colors for your shapes. I want you to paint them on one piece of paper, and then I want you to cut them out and glue them onto another piece of paper. Now, this takes planning. You have to think about what your picture is going to be about before you begin this project, because you are going to create a full picture, not just an example of, okay, this is a line and this is a triangle and this is a biomorphic shape and this is red and this is blue and this is yellow. Now, you're going to create, you are going to communicate, and you are going to bring something into existence. You're going to express yourself. And then use all of the other elements of art that we talked about. Line, shape, primary colors, negative space, positive space. And very importantly, communicate something. Pick a theme. Do you want it to be about an emotion? Do you want it to be about a roller coaster ride? Do you want it to be about sled riding or walking in the rain? Or do you want it to be about bedtime, scary times, fear, Halloween, anything that you can think of? If you can think of it, you can do it. If you can think of it, you have enough tools now that we've worked on that you can create it. You are the creator, and it makes you very powerful. All right, boys and girls, I had a nice visit with you. And I want you to be safe, practice your social distancing, wash your hands, and be ready for our next lesson. But most of all, explore the tools that are right in front of you. Take a walk outside on a nice day, and we'll explore more tools that are right in front of you in nature. You think about it. Use your imagination and I will talk to you soon. Okay. Red and yellow and blue. Red and yellow and blue. I love you. Primary color.